What's up, you guys? Welcome to the channel. For those that don't know, my name is Alina Smith. I'm a writer and producer for projects like ITZY, Red Velvet, My Teenage Girl, Fall Out Boy, Betty Who, Produce 101. I always forget. But on this channel, we discuss all things music production, vocal production, songwriting. So if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button down below. All right, guys, so I'm excited about today's video because today's video is all about vocal production. I'm going to be showing you my top 5 vocal production tricks. Now, you guys know I post a lot about vocal production. It's generally something I'm known for, pretty good at it. Not bragging, just facts. But these tricks are specifically ones that I think are a little bit on the left side. They're not the most known ones, and they're not the ones I constantly talk about in every video. And these tricks are something that I find extremely helpful, especially when you're producing records, not necessarily demos, where you're trying to really showcase vocals. But before we get started, I want to let you guys know this video is sponsored by Vocaline Project 5. Now, I'm really excited to be working with Vocaline because I've been using this product for probably 10 years, maybe 12 years. This is one of my hidden weapons, something that I use on pretty much every single record that I produce. Anything that I've produced that's come out, most likely I've used this on. And what this plugin does, it basically aligns vocals. Like, let's say you have a lead vocal and then you have doubles or harmonies. It helps you correct the timing of those dubs, let's just call them that. And Vocaline Project 5 is really exciting. It's a newer product. I've been using an older version, and this product has tightness control, which is really cool. So you can actually determine how tight your vocals are, if you want them to be a little bit looser, more natural, or if you want them to be almost like a vocoder, like exactly the same timing. You can achieve that with this product. So it's really cool. Hi guys, future Alina popping in here because I forgot to tell you that this month, March, Vocaline is actually 33% off, which happens really rarely. So it's a really good time to grab it. And there's also a 14-day free trial. Okay, back to the video. All right, you guys, and without further ado, let's just jump straight into this video. Okay, so the first trick I'm going to show you guys is aligning your vocals as far as timing. And yes, I'm definitely going to be using Vocaline for this. The reason I do this in pretty much every song I produce is because tight timing, at least to me, on dubs, harmonies, and gangs, doubles, is part of my style as a pop producer. I really like when you hear vocals and they just sound so tight. It makes me very happy. Now, not every style is like this. You know, anything that's more organic, like rock music, maybe country music even, doesn't necessarily need as much of this, but I think for anything pop adjacent, this is a really important trick. So this is my song Moody. I don't know when I'm going to release this video, so depending on that, it's either not come out yet or it's out already. It comes out on March 3rd. So if it's past March 3rd, please stream and support the song if you like it, of course. But this is what it sounds like. So I'm gonna first show you guys the actual vocal production here because I did use Vocaline on a lot of these vocals, and I'll show you what it sounds like, and then I'm gonna recreate it and show you guys how I would do it, like in the process actually. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, you guys can tell I like the song. Yes, I produced it, and I'm singing on it, but it means a lot to me, the lyrics especially. But I want you guys to hear this vocal production soloed without the track, so I'm gonna mute it, especially this part. I got some healing
nothing left to do. I got
You know those it's quite a large stack right here of background vocals. I've used Vocaline to align all of these, and if you look at this, you can see how everything pretty much starts exactly the same. Yeah, there's a little bit of variation because some of them I started very sharp, like I, and others I started like hi with a little bit of a breath. So that's, that's the only difference really. But if you just hear these background vocals, you can hear how tight they are.
I got
Or even here on just doubles on the moody part.
moody, moody, moody.
I basically wanted it to sound like one vocal, but just, it's bigger somehow. I did not want to feel and hear the doubles and any sort of difference between the doubles and the lead. And of course, it was aligned with Vocaline. So what I'm going to show you guys is how to do this in Ableton. Full discretion, when I recorded the song, I recorded the dubs in Studio One and processed it with Studio One ARA system. I hope I'm saying it right. It's ARA. I guess it's ARA. Maybe it's ERA. I don't know. That sounds wrong. I think it's probably ARA. So, and what that is, just for those that are not aware, maybe considering buying a different DAW, is for vocal production, Studio One is it's tip top. Yeah, this ARA2 integration. Basically what this does, it allows you to do this quicker. And as I do this in Ableton, I will point out how it's different in Studio One. But it is possible to do this in Ableton, and I know a lot of you guys follow me because you also use Ableton primarily, just like I do. So I will show you how to do it in Ableton. It's still quite possible, just there is an extra step. So we're gonna look for Vocaline here, and I'm gonna drag Project 5 onto the dub. I always forget this, and I made a silly little song for myself to remember whether you put it on the lead or the dub. And I go onto the dub, onto the dub. So every time I have this question now, I remember that it goes on the dub. So let's just go ahead and put it on this. These are background vocals I just recorded now to show you guys how this can be corrected. Now, I specifically tried to do them really poorly. It was hard actually, because naturally I have pretty good timing as a singer, especially when I match. I'm pretty good at it. So I was consciously trying to do things differently and do it wrong so that I could correct it and show you guys how to do it. But this is what it sounds like at the moment.
I still got a lot of shit to recover from.
Like right here specifically, I was slowing down or speeding up just to show you the difference. So let's go ahead and just work on the very first one. I'm gonna drag Vocaline onto the dub, and it is pretty simple. What you need to do is basically sidechain it. So the way this works, it reads your lead vocal as a guide, right? And then your background vocal or your double, it adjusts it to it, but it needs to know what the lead is. So you just put the lead right here in the sidechain. Let's go ahead and unfreeze this, and I'm gonna call it guide lead, just so we know which one it is, right? And I'm just gonna choose it right here. Lots and lots of tracks, just like all of my songs. Guide lead, boom. So now it knows what to take it from. And what you need to do basically is just now capture the dub. And the way to do it is just to let it play back. And this is the step that's skipped in Studio One. In Studio One, you don't have to wait for it to capture. It's already captured with that ARA2 technology. So that makes it go a lot faster. I will be the first person to admit it's a lot faster in Studio One, but it is not Vocaline's fault. It's just, how Ableton is and other DAWs versus Studio One. So, but we're just gonna go ahead and capture it now.
I still got a lot of shit to recover from. Still carry all of the trauma in my bones. I try, but you'll have to forgive me. If I'm not 100, be Gucci, if I'm still a little bit moody.
Yeah, right here I did it really bad. So, and now it's basically captured. It's here. If we basically listen back to it already, let's listen to this part. I know this part was really bad. It is already going to be fixed.
Be Gucci, if I'm still a little bit moody.
Right? Without it?
Be Gucci, if I'm still
like that Gucci, I was like, Gucci. And here,
be Gucci, if I'm still
boom, it's done, right? Isn't that amazing? So, and what you can do with this new version of Vocaline, which I'm really so excited about, is you can change the timing from being the tightest it can be to being a bit looser. So let's go ahead. We know this part sucks. So let's just go ahead and loop that, and we'll kind of adjust that and see how that works. So that's tight. Let's go ahead halfway. You can already hear me rushing right there. And if we go a lot looser, and now it's like very off. But the reason I think this is cool actually is because for the parts that were already pretty good, you might not want this super, super tight timing. I always do. I know that I'm the kind of producer, like I will literally not touch this. It will always be pointed to the tightest setting. But for other genres, like I mentioned, like maybe rock, country, folk, you might not want it to be like 100% there. So this is a nice way to basically make it feel more natural. And if we go to the parts where I wasn't as off, I think the beginning I wasn't as off because I realized halfway they're singing, oh wait, I need to do it poorly. So the beginning wasn't as bad. So if we go a little bit looser right here,
I still got a lot of shit to recover from.
yeah, it's a little loose, you know. And if we go tight,
I still got a lot of shit to recover from.
it's like perfect now. So yeah, that's basically how you do it. And then you can leave it like this on the track. I usually like to print it. One word of warning, don't have other things on the track like I have autotune on, obviously, to print vocal line so you don't have to have the plugin on, so you just have it processed. You know, you need to probably do it without autotune. Right now, when I go to freeze, it will take the autotune as well, unless you want that too, which is also like a good move and makes sense. So, but for me, I usually would do this untuned and then add the tuner to this corrected version. Watch this. Boom. It's just like it fixed it immediately. And you can even see it's a little bit harder because it isn't like, right, these tracks aren't next to each other. But you can see, like, if I point my, yeah, it's literally everything starts on the exact same note. So that's super duper fantastic. And basically, yeah, then I would do it to this one as well. And it would sound a lot tighter, even though I did it like poorly on purpose. So yeah, I strongly recommend this for doubles specifically, because a lot of the times I really dislike it when I can hear that the double is a double. I just want it to feel like it's one vocal, but it's thick. She thick, you know? So doubles is like, I strongly recommend it for doubles. And then for harmonies, it's to taste depending on how you like it. All right, guys, the next trick I'm going to show you is a verb throw. For those that don't know, it's basically when you take a piece of a vocal, lead vocal or background vocal, any vocal, and you create another track with that piece of a vocal on it and a reverb added. Okay, so to show it to you in this session specifically, I already see one here. So our lead is doing this.
Takes time, yeah.
So I kind of wanted that yeah to be emphasized in a really subtle way. So I copied it over to my verby track preset. That's just my throw. And it sounds like this.
Yeah.
Right, it's just kind of a longer tail on the verb, and together they're doing this.
Yeah, every breath up.
And it's a really subtle trick, honestly. A lot of the times when I do this with my artists here in the studio, they go, whoa, that's so small, but it makes a big difference. Like, they've never even realized that this is a really common kind of thing until they saw me do it. So another way to also use this, I usually just have this verby track kind of by default in my tracks. And sometimes I put like an additional ad lib on here, like this, for example.
Better, but with effort.
So I didn't want to copy the word effort. I did not want that to be emphasized with that subtle verb under it. I just wanted that kind of vocal in between here. So this is exactly what's happening. So yeah, basically, point of the story, create a verbed out track in your sessions when you're doing vocal production and just drag certain things down on it from the lead, which is a really fast, easy way to create like a moment, or just have the singer do some hums or additional ad libs that are supposed to be kind of in the background, and those add a lot as well. My third tip is to automate your effects, specifically your reverb and your delay. I can see that I'm doing this a little bit in the session, and I will kind of play you guys this soloed and to explain what I'm doing, right? So yes, I have some effects directly on tracks like that verb throw I just showed you guys, but actually my leads, they are bussing out to a specific channel with reverb on it. Basically, these sends right here, A is verb and B is delay for me. And the reason I do this is because I don't actually want verb directly on the track, because when you put it directly on the track, you don't get the clean signal of the lead without verb anymore, right? You have lead with verb on it and that's it. When you bust it out, it basically creates like a copy of it. It's like two of them, right? There's still the dry lead, it still exists. And then now there's a copy of the lead with verb on it doing this. So a couple of things about this. Basically, I have the verb on the full setting. It's like the mix is to 100% because, like I said, I already have a dry one here. Yeah, if we go here and solo this and, take off the buses.
Still got a lot of shit to recover from.
Okay, yeah, here's our dry, totally dry signal. And now it's going out to the delay, and to the verb as well. And this is great because these are completely controllable now. And the reason I kind of emphasized automation too is because automating this is really, really, it creates a lot more drama. I don't know how else to describe it really. So yeah, and looking at this, you can see that I wanted to raise the volume of this verb specifically for the choruses. It's called big verb. It's the big, really wide reverb. I wanted to come in when the track is really big, when the vocals are really big, just to kind of enhance that feeling of oh, it's huge, So this is where I'm using utility from Ableton right here, just to automate it really, and have it go up quite significantly in volume just on this part. So, but I do this on other effects as well. It doesn't have to be just reverb. Like this delay, I felt like it should cut out right here on this part song.
You gotta love me through it.
Right, so I didn't feel like hearing through it, repeated over and over again in this delay. So I just went ahead and cut it. So, and this just allows you a lot of control over your vocal effects, really. So highly recommended. My fourth tip is to record gang vocals under the biggest parts of your songs. Okay, so what are gang vocals and what are they not? They're not doubles, they're not backgrounds, they're not harmonies. They're basically just room vocals of you or ideally more than one person singing. I usually do choruses this way, or big post choruses if there's a whoa, big kind of emotional part. This is where I usually throw this in. Now there is a way to do this on your own. I've made shorts about this before. Basically you just change up your voice. Let's say your part is oh, you could do it in a deeper voice like I just did. You could do it in a oh, you can do it nasally, which soloed, it doesn't sound good, but when you do it a bunch of times with different tones, it kind of sounds like a bunch of different people. But ideally, you will have 2 or 3 people for this. If you are producing an artist, you plus the artist is great. That's more than enough. And if it's male or female, if you have both, that honestly really, really helps too. It depends on the project. Obviously, if it's supposed to be a masculine kind of artist, you might want to have more male voices. If it's a woman, a lot of the times more female voices help, but a lot of the times having both is actually quite nice and adds depth. So I'll show you guys just a little bit of this song, the full vocal production in this moment, and then I'll show you the gang.
If everything went differently that day, if I ran after you and made you stay, would we still take late night drives in the rain?
Okay, so there's a lot going on already. There's obviously the lead. There's a low created octave down.
If everything went
One of those, you know. We have the doubles.
If everything went,
We have background vocals.
if everything went,
So, but what really adds that width and that kind of like, oh, wow, you know, it sounds big moment is this gang. I'll play it for you guys and you will be surprised by how sort of crappy it sounds on its own. It's quite thin. We're far from the mic. You know, there's processing to make it a little bit more distorted. So this is it on its own.
if everything went differently that day, if I ran after you and made you stay, would we still take late night drives in the rain? Would we keep our plans to run away if I...
It sounds extremely thin, and I even have plugins on here to help thin it out, if that makes sense, because the backgrounds and because the doubles and the lead are quite low and thick. So I wanted this just to be sort of in the background, and it's turned down, as you can see here, minus 21 dBs, because I don't want it to be too loud. It just adds this very subtle layer of largeness to the vocal production. Like without it.
If everything went differently that day, if I ran after you and made you stay, would we still take late night drives in the rain? Would we keep up playing?
Do you know what I mean? It's so subtle, but it adds that dimension to it because we are not close to the mic, because it's a man and a woman singing. I'm singing an octave above, he's singing an octave below, you know, and this processing is probably not final. The song is not out yet. You know, a lot of times I put distortion on it as well, or something like erosion to just like really help create that crunch. So you hear it, it's low. Most people wouldn't even pick up on it, but it creates dimension. Okay guys, and my final tip, this is a very me thing that honestly I'm just gonna show you guys like my style of production, but if you work with singers that sound something like this is a really great trick. So if you have a singer with an airy voice, male or female, it's really great to use their voice to basically create pads, right? Yes, you can play a pad on, you know, a synth instrument, VST, whatever. But vocal pads are just a great way to add texture to your track and to use the singer that you have and make their song unique, because I always say this, your voice or your singer's voice is the only instrument in the track that you have that nobody else has, right? It's the only thing that's completely fully unique. Everything else somebody else can find the patch, recreated, blah 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 blah. The vocal, not so much. So I do this in like probably every song that I produce. That's for me, for K-pop, for other artists. It's just an amazing trick. It works with my voice very well because I have quite an airy voice and I sing with air pretty like effortlessly. So I usually just layer, you know, 2 of each harmony. Like this is 3 parts I could see, and it sounds like this. So yeah, it's extremely simple. It starts with the vocal performance. It has to be airy, has to be soft. I'm usually very close to the mic when I do this. And you just emphasize the top end with EQ, put some reverb on it, and that's basically it. You spread it pretty wide. I usually go full left and full right, which is not what I do for any other background vocals. But yeah, I just like this to be like very much on the sides, kind of shimmering. So if you have a singer that sounds like this is a really good trick. Okay guys, so these were my 5 unusual sort of vocal production tips and tricks. If you guys have your own that I haven't mentioned, I would actually love to hear them, so make sure you put them down in the comments below. As always, if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask them. I will answer. So, and make sure you give this video a like, because that really helps the channel grow and helps me kind of find out what you guys like, what other videos you guys might be looking for in the future. So yeah, and at that, I think I'm going to go. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.